Who's my hero?
Who's your hero? Nobody has any heroes anymore.
My husband.
Why?
Because we just had a baby. He's able to take care of her, and he was talking to her already. And he's holding her in the living room right now, listening to me on the radio. So I bet I'm going to be number one on his list now.
Good answer, and I like it. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Also, don't be so, tough on tasty cakes. 591-8900, 591-8902. Downers Grove. Hi there, Downer. You're on the air at WLS.
Yeah, hi, Bob.
How you doing?
All right.
How are things in Downers Grove tonight?
Oh, it's pretty wet.
Pretty wet. Okay. If you were going to go into business for yourself, what kind of business would you open up?
Probably something to do with baseball, selling baseball. It's so big. Baseball merchandise.
Baseball merchandise? You mean like cards and memorabilia, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, like, selling uniforms, bats, like that.
Just because it's so big?
Yeah, I mean, it's making a lot of money right now.
Think you'd really enjoy it, though?
Yeah, I think I could get along with it.
Get along with it. I mean, you'd enjoy making the money, but how about the actual work and dealing with the kind of people who are into that kind of stuff? Wouldn't that have any effect on the type of business you went into?
I don't think so. I think I'd enjoy it. I'd enjoy it.
Okay. Forgive me for asking this next question. It is a question that has been asked a zillion times, and it's a frivolous, stupid question, but I figured, what the hell, I only had 24 and I needed 25. If you were stranded on a desert island, who do you want to be stranded with?
It's tough. Elle McPherson.
Elle McPherson?
Right.
Who in the hell is that? You must forgive me, I'm a reckless. I have no idea what's going on in the world.
The model is Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated model, okay. What did you want to be when you grow up?
Probably a lawyer.
Why?
Just for the money. And
for the money?
I like talking to it, so, getting into it a lot. Arguments and everything.
How much money do you think you're going to make in your best year?
Next year?
Yeah. And obviously in terms of today's dollars,
yeah,
but...
I guess 80 or 90 cents.
Is that going to make you rich?
Right now, I don't think so. I think you need two people working, and that's not even enough right now.
Will the world really ever come to an end, do you think?
Well, yeah, like in a million years, and then it's like, ice age comes to something, or we get hit by a meteor, but not...
No people, no animals, no nothing. I mean, literally come to an end, die.
Well, not, in like a million years, but not now. I don't think right now, nothing like that.
To this point in your life, what's the most important event you've seen happen?
I don't know, I'm pretty young, so... Let me see, I had probably my uncle and her wife, having their baby, so...
Okay, thank you very much. 591-8900, 591-8900. This time it is Round Lake Beach. Hi there, Round. You're on the air at WLA.
Hi, Mayor Doc.
How you doing, Round?
I'm doing great, buddy.
What's happening around Lake Beach tonight?
Oh, not too much. Just,
And the service station closed down already?
No, I'm just sitting here waiting for your show to come on, and now it's on. I'm happy.
Okay. These are really rough.
Little clown. I can't even remember his name, but I can just picture it. And for some reason, that clown sticks in my mind. And I've often thought of, I wonder where it went. I don't remember losing it. I don't remember giving it up. But I just remember it for some reason.
I'm a very bizarre man who has a very interesting relationship with his audience. It's a real love-hate relationship for both of us, not just me. And I had mentioned, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but there were times when the audience, the people in the audience just blow me away. I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Lincoln Lodge, probably my favorite toy when I was a kid. I don't know how many sets I went through, but quite a number. And I mentioned that I was thinking about going out and buying some more, and I'd gone to a store and looked at them. They were $25, and I said, what, $25? Well, I think nothing was dropping amounts far, far larger than that and more frivolous things. I just mentioned this on the air. I came in, I think it was Wednesday, found this great big box sitting on my desk, opened it up from a listener. The listener didn't even give me his or her name, wasn't even a return address, filled with Lincoln Logs, brand new box of Lincoln Logs.
Did you do anything with it?
Are you serious? I was sitting on my floor in my office at home at 1 o'clock in the morning building little log cabins.
I'd give anything to have a picture of that, Bob.
Well, that's why I closed and locked the door. There are quite a number of people who would have given anything. I mean, I'm about 4 sheets to the wind, too, mind you. And I don't have my glasses on. I can hardly see. I'm just fumbling around trying to build these little log cabins. I tell you, I've got that log cabin on the bottom shelf of my bookcase next to my desk. Proud possession.
I'll bet you it's a good feeling, too, when something like that comes up and it can take you back that far, and especially mentioning it and then receiving it anonymously. That's had to make you feel pretty good.
Right, and I'm serious, too. 1 o'clock in the morning, because I talked to a friend in California until 1, and then I looked over at the box. I'd taken the box and just set it on the couch in my office when I came home that night. I looked at that box, and I looked at the clock, and I looked at the box, and I looked at the clock. I said, the hell with it. It's only sleep, you know? Just sat there like a kid right in the middle of the floor, cross-legged, building log cabins. Thank you much, my friend.
Rod.
591-8900, 591-8900. It's another session of Get to Know the Audience. To the South Side. Hi there, South. You're on the air at WLS.
Good evening, Bob.
How you doing, South?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
Oh, not too bad. What's happening on the South Side of town tonight?
Same as everywhere else. It's raining.
Yeah. God, what a...
I like the rain, though. It's nice. It's romantic.
I work in a business where holidays are usually not had. And, obviously I work 6 days. And I must admit, I grouse and grumble about it. But when I looked out the window this afternoon and thought of all those people, looking forward to a nice 3.5-day weekend, well, 3.5 for some, like the people who work here, except in so-called essential position. Anyway, looked out the window. I really felt bad. God.
Well, they'll find something else to do if they're into something. They won't be getting bit up by mosquitoes out in that backyard barbecue, at least.
You've been around the block once or twice, haven't you?
A little bit, mm-hmm.
Maybe to the county fair once or twice?
County fair?
Yeah, so to speak. You've had some experiences in life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's the best advice that you'd give to a young person? Knowing full well that they would probably ignore it, but nonetheless.
Follow your heart and put a certain amount of money away every time you get a paycheck.
Follow your heart and put a certain amount of money away. It's not at all what I expected in the way of advice, but it's decent advice. I feel so bad. I had a relatively young person. He didn't really ask my advice. It's a guy that I correspond with, but he told me what he'd like to do with his dream, as I immediately wrote back and said, No, don't do that. You'll waste your time. No. And it was basically something that I had already done in my life. And then I sat back and I thought, well, wait a second. You're giving him great advice for a 45-year-old man.
You've got experience.
But lousy advice for a guy in his early to mid-20s. You're right. Follow your heart. What one luxury that is hopelessly out of your reach? I mean, something that, you just can't realistically ever hope to attain. What one luxury would you like to have?
It's a terrible saying, but there's nothing that I can't afford that I want.
Really?
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky.
Well, there's pretty lucky, and then there's pretty lucky, but there, the things that...
I followed my own advice, and I invested well.
I'd love to have a Picasso. An honest-to-God, for real Picasso hanging on my wall.
Well, even that is obtainable if you're not looking for the great masters. He had a lot of sketches, and he had a lot of etchings and other things that you could afford.
Well, I'm going to have a hell of a lot of money before I can hang $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 on my wall.
You're talking about one of his great oils.
Then you're talking millions and millions, but the things that you're talking about are still in the $25,000 or $100,000 class.
But you can afford it, Bob. I know what you make, you told us, so you can afford it if you want it. If you really wanted it, you'd buy it.
You're right. If I really wanted it, I could conceivably afford it. It would take sacrifice.
You found a way to get it.
Who's the most dangerous man or woman alive today?
Oh, God. Let's see. There's so many that I could choose from. It has to be, I guess, over in... I'm afraid of some of these Arab country leaders. Not the one from Egypt or even the Saudis. I'm afraid of, Muammar Gaddafi and people like that. Anyone in that category that has a little looseness up in the...
But they have virtually no power.
No, but if they ever got a hold of anything that they could do a lot of destruction with, they wouldn't think twice about doing it. That's what scares me.
See, those guys concern me, but they don't scare me because Gaddafi can't really do anything unless...
Well, not particularly Gaddafi, but I mean someone like Gaddafi.
Well, okay. Well, let's go...
Like who Saddam Hussein. Look at what he caused. I mean, you know.
Well, look what he caused, but it wasn't him that... It was the reaction to what he did that became really ugly and really messy.
Yeah, but a lot of people are dead, and he could have... he was trying to wipe out Israel, and that scared me very much.
I really wonder if he was trying to wipe out Israel.
Oh, I think he would have been the hero. He would have ran the whole Arab nation if he had wiped out Israel, I think.
Well, if he had wiped out Israel or done very, very severe damage, what we did to him would have been nothing compared to what we would have done had he done something like that. And I think that he was aware of that. And it's a public relations ploy, in my humble opinion. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, well, to a certain extent, you're right. I assume that he wouldn't go too far because he knows what would happen to himself. But you don't have to go very far for the Arab nations, especially, you know, not the sheiks and that, but the poor people. They'll follow him anywhere if he just a few scuds hit and really did some damage.
Why are you listening to the show tonight?
It's raining, and I'm going away in a couple days, and I'm packing, and I enjoy it. Tonight I enjoy it. I don't enjoy you every night. Sometimes I'm so mad at you I could kill you, but otherwise, tonight it's a very nice show. So.
Do you normally listen on Saturday night?
If I'm home, yeah.
Okay. Last question. Has your life gone pretty much as you expected it to?
Better.
Better?
Better,
You think most people are in that category?
I would hope they were. I don't think they are, though.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
591-8900, 591-8900. This time, it is Janesville, Wisconsin. Hi there, Janesville. You're on the air at WLS.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. What's coming down tonight in Janesville?
A lot of rain.
A lot of rain.
Yeah, it's been raining for about 2 days now.
This is a tough question. I appreciate that, but I'll ask it nonetheless.
Okay.
And I'll bet you have an answer. It's just probably one of those things that you don't think about. Who speaks for you? In other words, who most consistently voices opinions that are closest to yours?
My best friend.
Your best friend?
Linda.
Linda?
Yeah.
Linda, well, you know, understand when I say speaks for you. You and Linda agree on just about everything.
Yeah, we do.
Is there anybody on a national level in Maine that, the rest of us might know?
No. Unfortunately, no.
If I told you who speaks for me, you probably wouldn't believe me.
Who?
George Will.
Really?
Yes.
He's funny.
There are obviously things on which we disagree, but
Right.
By and large, the way he thinks is pretty much the way I think, and we agree on an awful lot of things, and people probably wouldn't believe that, but...
I believe you.
This isn't really a fair question. I should have...
I'll ask it anyway.
Well, the reason it's not fair is because most of the people listening are in a, much closer radius of where I'm sitting right now. But what the hell? Maybe we'll get to Janesville one of these days. Where's the best place to have breakfast?
My house.
Well, besides that, we're going out now. Because you don't want us all come to your house for breakfast tomorrow.
Oh, I love the cook. I don't mind. Perkins.
Perkins?
You have Perkins down there, don't you? Up there. Down there.
The chain?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it. Doesn't mean we don't have it, but I'm not familiar with
Okay.
it. Oh, what's so good about Perkins?
They have good sausage.
If you ever get to Chicago, you got to go to the West Egg for breakfast.
Okay.
Have you been to the West Egg?
No.
Let me see here. Next one. What's the one television show that you try to never miss?
I really don't watch TV that much. I mean, I have one, but not usually on. Let's see.
Well, you say it's not usually on, so therefore, obviously, sometimes you turn it on.
The news. I try not to miss the news.
None of the entertainment programs?
No, not really.
None of those, nice trashy programs like Lifestyle, The Rich and Famous. Or...
No, I don't. I have 4 children. I have enough of that.
Okay. What famous person would you like to have over the house for dinner?
Probably George Bush.
George Bush, why?
I like talking about the abortion issue and gay rights issues and stuff like that.
And you think your cooking would soften him up?
Yeah, I'm pretty good cook.
Last one. What's the next year going to bring for this country? Recession, depression, prosperity, what?
Kind of hard to say. Holy, the depression. I don't see the country going in the way that it should. I see everybody just kind of doing what's best for themselves instead of what's best for everyone. They're thinking of themselves instead of everyone else. And I think that the country is founded on everybody working together, you know, and I don't see that at all. I see everybody trying to do it.
Thank you much.
Bye.
Be good. 900-591 WLS.
Yeah, Mad Dog, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, North Lake?
Not too bad.
What's happening in North Lake tonight?
Not too much.
Willing to part with. You know, we got to get rid of one to balance the budget or something.
The Bulls.
The Bulls. Oh, all right. I knew I liked you. That's a dumb game, man. It is a dumb game.
Unfortunately, they're doing good this year. Maybe we shouldn't pick too soon, maybe.
Well, wait a second. Probably going to get the best price for them.
Yeah. That's true.
Which product or service would you recommend?
The Volkswagen.
Volkswagen. How come?
Because I own one for 3 years and haven't had a problem with it yet.
None.
Nothing.
Zip.
Nothing.
Zilch.
Zip.
Nothing's falling off. No screws have come loose. Doesn't squeak. Gets better gas mileage every week.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but it hasn't changed. Hasn't gotten any worse.
Who's your favorite actor?
Michael Keaton.
Who's your favorite actress?
In terms of acting ability or beauty?
Whatever. Your favorite actress. I don't care why.
Heather Locklear.
My favorite actress is Deborah Winger. Okay. I can't explain why. Who's your hero? You've got to have one.
Pardon?
Who's your hero? And you've got to have one.
I have to have one.
You have to have one. There is literally a gun with a triggered cock sitting in your ear until you answer.
You must have a long barrel on that thing.
Very long.
Bob Lassiter.
Come on. Why would a recluse, a man with more problems than you can shake a stick at, be your hero? Come on.
How can you have all those problems?
How come I have all those problems? Because I'm a basket case. God, I'm an only child. Which in and of itself brings problems out the wazoo. That's a cruel thing.
Have you ever done any research on only children?
Yeah.
What have you found out?
Most of us are basket cases.
Really?
Yeah, we have a very difficult time sharing. We have a difficult time communicating. I can come in and sit in a room by myself and lean into a piece of metal and talk, and I can tell you anything you want to know, and I can be warm and friendly if I want to be. I can communicate. Take me outside of this room and bring somebody else in who I am not comfortable with, and I come off as being aloof. I'm nothing more than insecure, and I'm just not used to being around people.
You ever try to deal with that?
Ever try to deal with it? I don't know. Probably not, because it doesn't bother me. See, I'm perfectly comfortable with it. It's normal to me to be alone.
Go for it.
And a lot of only children fall into that same category where it's very, very difficult time dealing with people. But that's the way it goes. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
591-8900-591-8900.
The Memorial Day weekend is here. Steak cooking on the grill. Your favorite brew in the hammock. And, of course, all that crack and construction. WLS Talk Radio 890 will have dozens of extra traffic reports all weekend long. So you can spend more time with your family and WLS Talk Radio 890. Here's a good line. Don't leave home without it.
Customer service and excellence is Ogden Lincoln Mercury in Westmont.
Ogden Lincoln Mercury in Westmont is Chicagoland's only winner of the coveted Chairman's Award for outstanding customer satisfaction for the last 3 years running. Ride into the winner's circle of savings with incredible close and lease values on over 300 brand new 1991 Lincolns and Mercuries, like a Lincoln Continental from just $489 per month, or the exciting new 91 Mercury Cougar from $299 per month. All based on 24 low monthly payments with just taxes, license, first payments, and refundable security deposit needed at inception. What's more, except for surplus mileage charge, all scheduled maintenance and repairs are included. Ogden Lincoln Mercury on Ogden Avenue, just a home stretch west of Route 83 in Westmont. We take your satisfaction seriously.
If something is troubling you and you don't know where to turn, call the crisis line at 1-800-866-9600. Help is on the line.
WLS Talk Radio 890 puts you on the radio from area code 312 and 708 dial 591-8900. Now, here's Bob Lassiter.
Let me pass this along to you from the National Weather Service. There is a flash flood warning in effect for creeks and small streams in northern Will and southern Cook County until 3:15 a.m. Small stream and urban flood advisory remains in effect for most of northeastern Illinois until midnight tonight. That includes counties Cook, Kane, DuPage, LaSalle, Kendall, Will, Grundy, and Kankakee in Illinois, and Lake County in Indiana. Flash flood watch continues in effect for all of north central and northeast Illinois, north and east of a line from Rockford to LaSalle to 20 miles southwest of Gary for the rest of the night, okay? Okay. Hope nothing happens there. This time it is, stop scrolling the screen. Why does it always do that when you need it? Prospect Ice. Hi there, Prospect. You're on the air at WLS.
Hey, Bob. How you doing?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Oh, pretty good.
You were going to go into business for yourself.
Yeah.
What kind of business would you open up?
Probably a pet store.
Pet store.
Probably exotic birds.
May I assume that you're into exotic birds?
Well, yeah, I like them. So.
Think you could make a go at that?
No, but it would be something that I would really enjoy. I know that's not much, well, depending on where you are, there's not much of a market for them. They're very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But I would enjoy working in that atmosphere.
Think you'll ever do it?
No.
Why not?
Well, I don't really have any desire to go into business for myself, and...
You don't?
Well, I mean, that was a hypothetical.
Yeah, I know that, but almost everybody does. I don't either, by the way.
I really don't.
I have no desire. Too many problems.
I've never appealed to it. My wife, now, she's always thinking about a new scheme, some way to go into business, family business, and it just doesn't strike me.
Me neither. I've run businesses for other people. I have had, for a while, my own business, and it just... I see no appeal to it at all.
Yeah.
There are other ways of getting out from underneath the thumb of the corporation or the boss than having your own business. That is what I dream of. Forgive me for asking this one. It is such a tacky question, like the others aren't, but this one's really time-worn. However, if you were stranded on a desert island, you know the rest of it.
Oh, man. Stranded on a desert. Who I would want to be there with? I guess my wife.
Oh, okay, not a bad answer. One I hadn't anticipated, but not a bad answer. My answer would probably be, and this is bizarre, and I know that a lot of younger men will not understand this, Orson Welles.
You're right.
While he's alive, not now necessarily.
Yeah. Why Orson Welles?
Just because he tells great stories.
Yeah.
And I just like to listen to him talk. And he'd probably be an interesting guy, and, he knows a lot about wine, and I don't, and that kind of stuff. Because, obviously, there'd be a wine cellar there on the desert island. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I went through a number of stages. I wanted to be a scientist. When I was very little, that's such a general vocation, but for me, that included everything from chemistry and all this stuff, inventing things and stuff like that. Then I went to a phase where I wanted to be a psychologist.
What'd you end up doing?
Well, right now I'm in divinity school.
Okay. Kind of like psychology.
It's related, yeah.
Okay. Is the world going to come to an end?
I believe so.
When?
I don't know.
Soon?
I don't know. I have no conjecture.
You're 27 years old. To this point in your life, what's the most important event that you've seen? The most earth-shaking, or the one that had the biggest effect on you? The one that you'll never forget?
Oh. I would have to say, up to this point, the recent events in the Middle East. It was the first time in my lifetime that war wasn't just well, the first time that I can remember that war wasn't just a thing of the past. It wasn't history. It was actually going on while I was existing.
And kind of personal.
Yeah, and the fact that people were dying while I was going about my daily affairs just really, really struck me. And I can remember watching as the soldiers were coming back to the various airports and seeing the joy and the tears on the faces of them and their family members. And though I had seen similar things from wars past, the fact that this was contemporary to my life really had an effect on me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Be good.
All right.
591-8900, 591-8900 to the south side. Hi there, south side. You're on the air at WLS.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Not bad. Yourself?
Doing real good. Trying to stay dry, though.
I've been doing good for a week. I can't tell you guys why, but one of these days I will. To this point in your life,
Yes.
what has America done that has made you the most proud?
Oh. Well, I was kind of young when they landed on the moon.
Well, we ain't done nothing. You know, that's your answer.
Well, I mean, I supported the war to an extent, but I wasn't really gung-ho on it. I mean, basically, not much, really.
Okay. Well, yeah, nations don't do much that often that is really great. You're still a very young person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was the biggest news story as far as you're concerned last week? And I'm flexible on last week.
Well, last week, basically, there were a couple, but the main one was the videotaping. Actually, the story happened back in October of '89, but it was the videotaping of that gang in D.C. that the earlier caller told you about. That
Great, second one in a row talking about a story that I heard nothing of.
Oh, it happened. They broke it out on I think it was Thursday or Wednesday night.
I don't know where the hell I was. Well, yeah, I know where I was Wednesday night. I was building log cabins with my Lincoln log. But watching the news. So I bet I had a better time than you did.
I heard it on the radio, though. I don't really watch the news that much on TV.
That's I rarely listen to the radio. Basically only in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the best vacation spot?
Best vacation spot?
Yeah. Someplace that you feel really confident suggesting to someone.
Well, actually, I have been, when I was younger, I used to go out to southwestern Michigan, near South Haven.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful country up that way.
And you'd recommend that to just about anybody?
Oh, definitely. Especially in the summertime, because it's very rural, and then you have the harbor and South Haven, and all up and down the coast, the western coast of Michigan.
My little heart beats faster and faster every day. And when we got married 4.5 years ago, we wanted to take a honeymoon, but not, to Niagara Falls or Jamaica, something like that, something a little bit different. And we had no idea what in the hell we wanted, and so we had, for some bizarre reason, I don't know why, but we had a copy of a Southern Living magazine. And I was going through it one day, and there was just this tiny little ad that said, cabins, nice cabins in Tennessee. And so we called and asked for a brochure, and the brochure really looked great. It really looked great, and, I've been around the block once or twice. Brochures are always 5 times better than the place is. But nonetheless, we rented it, showed up, walked through the door. The brochure lied through its teeth. This place was 10 times better. I mean, it was unbelievable. And in about 6 weeks, I'm going back again. Just on a little water. It's got its own stream and a little waterfall and a hammock down there. And, oh, God, for a week, just get away from it. But unfortunately, I won't tell you where it is.
Oh, okay. Because I was just about to ask you, but I won't.
Well, it's outside of it's about 10 or 15 miles outside of Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Oh, very good.
And we don't even have any intention of leaving the cabin. The grounds, it's about 2 acres. Just go in there with an armful of videos and books and veg out for a week.
You got lucky because a lot of, like I said, the brochures will tell you, and they make it, they make it sound real good, and you get there and you're like, oh no.
Oh, we were blown away when we walked through the door. The brochure was nice. It was very nice, but nothing like this place. Well, friend, I'm up against the clock.
Okay.
I thank you much. We have 2 more hours yet to go as once more we strive to get to know the audience. Don't venture far.
Have a happy Memorial Day weekend from all of us at WLS Talk Radio 890. Time at the Safe Driver is 10 o'clock.
Welcome back, fun seekers. Welcome back indeed to Saturday night, May the 25th, 1991. Is there any more sure sign that Christmas is just around the corner than when the hockey season ends? Unbelievable. 591-8900 is the telephone number. We are getting to know the audience one more time this evening. Seems to work, and what the hell, I enjoy it. I've got nothing better to do, and I guess a lot of you guys don't either. To Westmont it is. Hi there, West. You're on the air at WLS. How things in Westmont tonight?
Great.
Great. Town I grew up in, Collingswood. The very next town was Westmont. It always throws me when I see something like that.
Why?
Well, because you don't expect, to find places, 1,000 miles away with the same name. I'm a provincial person. Very, provincial.
Yes, I know.
To this point in your life. No, wrong set of questions. Different one here. Forget that to this point in your life. What's the best advice that you'd give to a young person? Knowing full well that they're not going to follow it, but that's beside the point.
Get a very good education.
What's good education going to do for you?
What is a good education going to do for you? I think it's going to further you in the world. I think it's possibly going to give you a little more income in life. You don't quit college in the middle. You don't quit high school. You go ahead and you get an education in a field where you can go ahead and prosper.
I'm not so sure I totally agree with you. There was a time when I would have said that too, but education, I guess it's probably a semantics problem. I would agree, get a good education. But most people today seem to feel an education is get a good job training course. If I thought that we were still educating, i.e. teaching people how to think, and then teaching them how to earn a living.
No, you've got to teach them to think first.
I don't know where's that being done anymore.
Not very many places.
Exactly. Virtually all of our universities have turned into vocational schools. You don't go to university to learn how to think. You go to learn how to be a stockbroker, to learn how to be a commercial artist, whatever it might be. And,
you get the basics first.
Yeah, if you can find them. What one luxury that is hopelessly out of your reach that you just will never really, realistically ever expect to get, would you like to have?
I would love to go and live in Jamaica 6 months out of the year.
Why Jamaica? They have a lot of trouble in Jamaica. Very unstable political area.
I have been there 16 times. I've got friends there. I would love to have a home there where I could go and stay 6 months.
Even with all the problems?
Even with all the problems.
What's so special about Jamaica that would make you risk living in a place like that?
I guess because my now deceased husband and I have been there so many times. We have friends there who are Jamaican people, and I would feel very safe there and very confident there.
The Caribbean is unbelievably beautiful, and the weather, winter and summer, it's just so ideal. But I can't think of a Caribbean island. Maybe I'm just getting paranoid in my old age. I can't think of a Caribbean island I'd invest in or put my life in for any period of time.
I would love Ocho Rios 6 months out of the year.
Who's the most dangerous man or woman alive today?
George Bush.
You really think that?
Yeah, I really do.
Why?
I do not think that he is a very well man. I think he is I've gone through this before in my own mind. I think he's too old to run a country.
He's only 66 or 67.
Yes, he is. And I am 52. I do not think that we need somebody who is at retirement age to be running the country.
Oh. George Bush was one of the people I disliked the most, but I would not categorize him as the most dangerous man or woman alive. By the way, I don't have an answer for that. I don't really know who the hell he is. But I never, with all the problems I have with George, his age is not one of them. It's not that far away from me. I used to think of 65 as being very old.
Your 40s, Bob.
Well, I know, but I remember 20 years ago real well, and so therefore I assume that the next 20 are going to go by just as quickly, if not even faster. And I don't think of, there are some people who are old at 47, and there are a lot of people who aren't old at 75. I don't think of Bush as being old. I just think of him in terms of not having any concept at all as to what it's like to live in the real world. He's just so far removed from it.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
But he probably was when he was 20, too.
No, I think he has always been extremely conservative.
That's what I meant. He was probably out of touch with the real world at 20 as well.
And I think you've got to go beyond the point of being an extreme liberal and being an extreme conservative, and you've got to go down a middle road.
Why are you listening to the show tonight?
Because I listened to you for many, many years in Florida.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Miami or Tampa?
Tampa.
Tampa. Oh. Where'd you live?
Largo.
Largo?
Doesn't that make you sick?
No, I didn't live that. Most of the time I spent down there, I didn't live that far from Largo.
I know.
I think it was about the last year and a half I moved over to Tampa right off of Bayshore Boulevard, which we really enjoyed it. The big problem I had with living in Florida is it just didn't look like any place I had ever lived before. And then we found that section of Tampa that, had sidewalks and trees and front porches and houses made out of brick and that kind of stuff. It looked much more.
Wasn't that delightful?
Oh, it was. It was. I paid through the nose to live over there.
And now I'm looking at trees that are beautiful and grass that you can walk on again.
Oh, yeah, without shoes.
That's right.
Oh, God, it's funny you should say that. I'd totally forgotten that. People don't quite understand it. The grass down there is nothing like the grass up here.
No.
Oh, yeah, take off your little shoes and run through this grass. Oh, take off your little shoes and run through the grass down there. You'll probably cripple yourself for life.
That's right. Don't you miss TJ?
Yeah, I do.
Carolyn.
Carolyn likes me occasionally.
Thank you.
Yeah, Carolyn likes me 2-3 times a year. I got a letter from her about a month and a half ago, which I haven't answered yet, by the way.
Oh, and you're good.
Yeah, I forgot.
She was a delight.
You know who I miss the most?
Who?
Jacob and Rocky.
Don't miss Lionel.
I miss Lionel as a caller. Lionel became not a very pleasant man to deal with when he got his own show, but as a caller, Miss Lionel, he had some great calls.
Well, he is What happened to Tim?
Tim who?
Evans.
Tim Evans.
Oh,
Tim Cole.
Tim Cole.
Nothing. He's just retired.
Really good.
Yeah, he's still alive as far as I know. By the way, I really shouldn't do this. This is terrible for the rest of the audience. I just got a letter yesterday from somebody in Tampa. Jan Bresky died. Rabbi Bresky. Yes, he died May 21st, I guess it was.
I know you were talking about the rabbi.
Yeah, 40 years old. I just read that just as I was opening my show yesterday. I was going through my mail, and that hit me pretty hard.
It hit me too because he was a brilliant man.
He was a nice guy. Okay.
But he was a brilliant man. He really was.
Oh, yes, he was. No two ways about it. Has your life gone pretty much as you expected it to?
No.
Better or worse?
Worse.
Or just different? Worse?
My husband died 3 years ago. My mother died 2 years ago. No. My mother I expected, my husband I did not.
I thank you very much.
Why?
For calling in.
Stop smoking.
591-8900, 591-8900. I apologize for the Tampa talk, but that did affect me yesterday. And so when I found someone who knew what I was, doing down there, we'll try not to do that. This time it is Glenview. Hi, Glenn. You're on the air at WLS.
Well, you're 2 for 2. I'm a former Tampa resident myself.
Oh, no. Where'd you live?
And you're right about the grass.
Oh, God, it's awful.
Isn't it horrendous?
Just awful.
Yeah.
I mean, when I finally moved to Tampa, I got a really nice, beautiful yard. I used to live in John Cannon's house on Knights Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
And the grounds were just fabulous. It's really the main reason I rented that house. The grounds were just incredibly beautiful, but all you could do was just sit inside and look at them.
Yeah,
you couldn't really go out and enjoy it.
You can't go outside between the hours of 10 and 3. It's just incredible.
And, if you go out and you try to spread a blanket on the grass and lay down or sit down or something, have a picnic, this stuff pokes up. And, it's awful. Who speaks for you? Anybody? Anybody who consistently voices opinions that are basically yours?
Not on a national level. Not really. George, when you earlier said George Will, that piqued an interest, and I went, yeah, sort of. But not really, because I don't know. I've gotten to the point where I don't know when somebody's speaking from their heart, their head, or for soundbite. So I really don't know.
It's one of the reasons I'm reasonably comfortable with Will. His thought process and mine are somewhat alike. He's a hell of a lot smarter and faster than I am. But the thought process is somewhat alike, and I can't really think of anybody else. And I hadn't really put it in that in terms that you just did. You can't really believe them.
I just don't try.
Yeah.
And I know, and on your screen, I'm not that old, but I have a very difficult time listening to, say, let's take Paul Simon because he's local. Listening to Paul Simon.
Oh, I don't believe a word.
I don't either, because
not a word.
next week, it's whichever way the wind blows. To go back down to Florida talk, they actually elect judges down there, and which is the most ludicrous thing to do in the world.
Yeah.
Because all they have to do is once in a while get an axe murderer on the docket, and then they can sentence him to death and say how tough on crime he is. So it's very difficult to believe this is here. So I can't really say anybody speaks for me.
Where's the best place for breakfast? To go out to breakfast.
There's a restaurant in Niles called the Omega, and we have a 4-year-old son. They're great with kids. Food is good.
Wait a second. You're not one of these people that brings your screaming little 4-year-old.
He does not scream, Bob.
Throws food around.
Bob, my son Ace does not scream. I don't allow him. He does not fidget fit. I don't allow him. And I'm not kidding.
I can't begin to imagine. Obviously, I have no children. Everybody knows that. I can't begin to imagine what it must be like if some houses. Because when you go out and you run into a family that has 2 or 3 kids and they're making all kinds of noise, and the parents are oblivious to it. They honestly and truly don't hear it.
It's selective hearing.
It has to be.
Well, the problem is that I notice is that parents will go out and they will either not prepare for the child, such as giving them something to do, or sometimes they'll go to a restaurant where the service is generally geared to an adult, and you can't get out of there in 45 minutes. You can't expect a kid to sit, and they go nuts.
Well, you can't expect a kid to sit. You can teach them. I was one of those kids.
Well,
I sat there quietly.
My kid will. The majority of children, I don't think the parents plan, and I think that sometimes you're asking, to ask a 4-year-old to sit in one place and be quiet for 45 minutes has got to be kid hell.
Well, I don't know. My father, I don't really ever remember my father hitting me, but I was terrified of him, and my father would put up with nothing.
I know.
Nothing. And I've told this before, but it's true. I can remember it happening. Mothers would drag their children up at, a wedding reception or some kind of a picnic, whatever it was, some kind of social function when I was a small child, and point to me and say, "Why can't you be like Bob?" And that truly happened a couple of times.
Now, you're an only child, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I am also. And people who have a lot of siblings don't know what it's like, because if something goes wrong in the house, they have no one else to blame it on.
Right.
Okay? My parents were also divorced, so not only did I get blamed for everything, I didn't have a second parent to go to for appeal.
Yeah.
So it was, there you go. That's it.
What's the one television show that you try never to miss?
I've been missing it lately, and I hate myself for it. In the Heat of the Night with Carol O'Connor. And I really like that show.
Have you seen Dinosaurs yet?
I saw Dinosaurs. Originally, I did not like it. My son liked it.
God, the show blows me away.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, you know, the gentleman that's producing it, and I cannot remember his first name, it's just on blank, but it's Jim Henson's son.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, in Muppet.
Yeah.
When I looked at the credits and I saw the name Henson, my respect for the show went up.
Oh, I think it just has some great dialogue.
Yeah.
And God.
A lot of the humor, though, does go over some kids' heads.
No, I don't think it's a kid's show.
No, it's not.
I think it was the first one when he had to go into the boss and he turned to one of his coworkers and he said, "But he's got such big teeth."
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a great show.
It's a lot like The Simpsons. It's geared towards a kid's show.
Average family of 4 could go there for a week. I mean, we're talking serious money.
They can't. You're talking about showing at least for a family of 4. The reason why I know is my brother my stepbrother, I should say, went down there with his kids, and I think he was saying that a room was like $110 or $100 a night or something. And
that's one of the cheap ones. Yeah, that's one of the really cheap ones.
Mm-hmm. And it's the oldest one.
Did you stay at like one of that new tropical Caribbean Victorian hotel? That's like $238 is the cheapest room in there. You can go to $450, $500 easy.
Yeah, and they give you, maybe a couple pillows in the corner, and you got to, sleep next to the water pump or something.
$35 to walk through the door.
Yeah.
Plus, they don't even give you the transportation pass. That's extra.
Right.
I would have to think several $1,000s.
You can do it. You can do it for other people that are thinking about going down to Orlando. And going to the Magic Kingdom this year and Disney World. You can do it quite inexpensively. You just have to plan properly. First of all, don't eat or buy anything once you get through the gate.
Yeah, but that's almost impossible because if you're going to see anything, you're going to be there for 10 or 12 or 14 hours.
Yeah, I know.
And they won't let you bring your lunch.
No, they won't. Well, if you wear a coat, you can maybe hide a sandwich in your pocket or something. But you can get reasonably priced room rates, in Kissimmee and St. Cloud and around. Don't try and get anything inside the Magic Kingdom. They'll eat you for breakfast.
They sure will.
It's incredible.
Which famous person would you like to have over to the house for dinner?
Oh, this is throughout from time immemorial.
Yeah. Anybody that we, all know the name of.
That is really tough. I would probably have to say it would probably be a cross between. You're gonna love it. Probably Lennon and Robert E. Lee.
Lennon I can easily understand. He must have been a fascinating man. Why Robert E. Lee?
Robert E. Lee is probably one of the most misunderstood characters in history. I had the opportunity in college to write a paper on him, and he was disowned, disinherited, disenfranchised, absolutely forgotten, and if it hadn't been for the Washington University in Virginia asking him to be their president, he probably would have been completely destitute. Shortly after his death, it was changed to Washington and Lee. The man was probably one of the greatest generals in our history. He recognized the lost cause when he finally saw it. At the end of the Civil War, the Southern forces wanted to split up and start guerrilla action, and Lee said no. And probably saved a very horrendous end to a very horrible war.
Who do you think I'd like to have over? Have any idea at all?
That's really tough.
I'll tell you now, it's a boyhood hero. I don't think I've ever phrased... I've told you about this guy and my relationship with him, but I don't think I've ever put it in those words before, boyhood hero. But it's
well, you've already told us that you read Dennis the Menace every morning.
Yes, I do. I really do.
I don't know. I've heard so many things said by you that absolutely floor me.
Richard Nixon.
I don't doubt that.
I think it'd be fascinating. I would guarantee not to ask about Watergate. It would be the last thing on the list I want to talk to him about.
I'd want to ask him about China.
Yeah. I found Nixon to be one of the most pragmatic men who had his problems, make no mistake about it, but one of the most pragmatic men in terms of foreign policy that this country ever had.
I agree.
I just love to sit down and rap with the dude.
When you asked somebody the question, what was the most important or climactic thing that happened during your lifetime? Everybody said the landing on the moon. I agreed that was great. I would have said Watergate. The entire process.
That would be number 2. Although I would probably zero it down to the day that Nixon resigned, which is all part of Watergate. and the V for victory getting into the helicopter.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Actually, the speech in front of the White House staff.
Yeah. Well, that whole
when he
morning.
almost lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
That would be number
write
2
a
on
book
my list.
about my mother.
Be number 2 on my list for sure.
Yeah.
Last one here.
Okay.
What's the next year going to bring? Recession, depression, prosperity? What?
Well, I'm an optimistic person. We just had a baby a few days ago, so I have to be an optimist. For me personally, I can see career, financial growth, career growth, obviously family growth. I'm optimistic as long as we don't become entangled. My main concern is spending dollars we don't have in a war that we supposedly have already won. That concerns me. As long as we don't get involved outside of our borders, I think if we just don't rock the boat too much, we'll be all right.
Well, we have to learn in this country. We must learn to stop spending money we don't have.
We don't have it. And I would be for across the board, 20% cuts across the board, everything. Wow.
It's going to be forced on us, and it's going to be very, very painful.
And unfortunately, I'm in my mid-20s. It's not going to be your generation that's going to have to deal with it. It is going to be mine.
Yep. Yeah, by the time it really gets bad, most of the people in my generation will have enough of a cushion to live out the rest of our lives. But guys like you and hell, the people who are 10 and 15 years younger than you now.
And when you have... Yeah, well, when you have... I hate to go back to Florida, but it's such diverse. One of the things about that state is you have a population that's very old, a population that's quite young. And they're balancing for resources.
And damn little middle class, too.
Damn little middle class, damn little middle age. And what is going to come first? Nursing homes or public schools?
Yep.
Unfortunately, that's what it might come to here in this country, and it makes me very nervous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
591-8900, 591-8900. I didn't take my 20 yet, did I? Well, let's do that now.
WLA Talk Radio 890.
Now, 591-8900. That's 591-8900. Once again, here's Bob Lassiter.
Being perhaps the world's coolest talk show host and doing shows as other people rarely do them, we have decided to do something different for a Saturday night. We've decided to hold a talk show and talk to people. There is one proviso, which I should, I guess, pass out to keep my poor producer from going through agony. I've frankly lost my patience with some of our younger listeners on Saturday night. And so I've told her I don't want anybody on the air who, is like 20, 21, and younger. Sorry, gang, but, you took advantage of it. Too bad. 591-8900, 591-8900. To Elmhurst it is. Hi there, Elm. You're on the air at WLS.
Hi, Bob.
What's coming down in Elmhurst tonight?
Well, the basement...
Besides the rain.
That's what's happening. The basement's starting to leak a little bit.
Oh, no.
Fortunately, the pump is working. So we're, we moved all the boxes out of the way, and I think we're in luck. But, just as long as it doesn't keep up.
Still really heavy rain?
No, actually, it stopped. I think we're all right. As long as it stays this way, I think we're cool.
Good. What's one comic strip you never miss?
The Far Side. That's my favorite.
Where the hell do you see it? I don't see it anymore. Because I would read it if I saw it.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't really dig into the newspaper to look for comic strips. I'm more into looking at comic strips in the bookstores. So I would go for Far Side books as soon as they're out. But no, I'm not. I was surprised though when you said that your favorite was Dennis the Menace.
It's the only one I read.
I was going to say Calvin Hobbes. That seems like one that you really dig.
No, I've never been a big comic strip reader for some strange reason. Even as a kid, I did read them, make no mistake about it, but they weren't that important to me. But for some strange... I kind of identify with both Mr. Wilson and Dennis. Because there's a lot of each of those two men or two characters in me. I am Dennis and I am Mr. Wilson.
Well, that makes sense. Well, the thing is, I've looked at Calvin and Hobbes, and I've heard about people that are really into it, and it sounds like a cool strip to get into, but I've yet to do it. I've yet to make the effort. But it's apparently about this kid that has this fantasy friend who's this tiger, and there's all this philosophical overtones to it. So It does sound like a good strip to get.
Yeah, Mary's into Calvin and Hobbes. I don't know if she still is, but she was at one time anyway.
I figured it would be consistent with all your stuffed animals. You know, I figured you'd have one. You know, that would you probably have a tiger, right?
Well, yeah, we do have Trevor.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, Trevor. He doesn't have a. Trevor doesn't have as much of a story as most of the other guys. We call them guys. As most of the other guys do. But yeah, I've got a tiger.
Oh, okay.
If not Bush, and it can't be, who would you like to see as the next president?
That's pretty tough. I think realistically...
It's not a tough question. It's an impossible question.
It really is, because I've got to see them in the running and see if they're making the right statements. You know, I would jump to say Cuomo, because I think he's in the past said some things that I like.
Doesn't set my heart to dancing.
No?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because the last, what was it, just recently he was asked, because he's got this trouble with the budget in New York right now, and he was asked, how are you supposed to perform in Washington and setting that budget if you can't settle the New York budget? And his answer to that was, well, you don't have to in Washington. It's like, that was his first response, and I thought, that's a cool, honest response, but it's probably not the best diplomatic or the best political response. He's not going to win votes saying stuff like that.
Mario gives great speeches, but I've been very unimpressed the few times I've heard him talk off the top of his head. Very unimpressed.
Yeah, I really can't tell you. I've heard of Bob Kerrey out of Nebraska, who's supposed to, be a runner, but probably not this time around. Probably the next time.
Okay. Which one of the fast food chains has the best food?
Oh, I think Portillo's. I like Portillo's. I've only run into that since I've been in the Chicago area, and that's got the thing I like about it. It's got great atmosphere, and they serve beer. I mean, it's the only one that other than Pizza Hut, and I'm not really big on Pizza Hut, but actually, they serve beer, so I think that's kind of a cool mix. But it's still a family fast food type place, but it's got a little bit more personality.
I don't eat at fast food places very often, but I must admit I do occasionally have cravings. When I lived in St. Thomas, it's a lot different now, but when I lived there, there weren't any fast food places at all. So I went for a full year without any Big Macs or anything like that. When I came back, I was living in Norfolk, Virginia, and I spent the first 7 weeks there living in a hotel in downtown Norfolk, and right across the street there was a burger chef. And I became absolutely... Burger Chef is, for all practical purposes, gone. There are still...
They're history, aren't they?
Yeah, there are a couple of independents that managed to hang on. They may still be open, but I used to love the Big Chef. I put on like 35 pounds in those 7 weeks. I ate there for breakfast. I ate there for lunch. I ate there for dinner. I'd go over and get midnight snacks. I spent most of my life wearing a rut in the sidewalk from that hotel to that Burger Chef, spending virtually my entire paycheck, because I didn't earn very much money at the Burger Chef. And thank God they went, for all practical purposes, out of business, because I was addicted to Big Chefs.
Well, that sounds like me in college with Wendy's when they first came out. Those greasy burgers. But they work. That reminds me, have you ever heard of Red Barn?
Yeah, I've heard. Oh, yeah, sure.
Whatever happened to those? Because, I was born in Buffalo, and they had them all over the place. That was definitely my favorite childhood fast food place. I really liked it just because of the barn. It's just going into this barn as a little kid, your eyes just popping out of your head. And just the idea of that, I think, was what made it for me. And the burgers were good, but it was just pretty much your run-of-the-mill burgers, just like McDonald's.
Well, as much as I complain about them, I guess I'm like a lot of other people. I don't understand why I like Big Macs. I don't understand why I like Whoppers, but I do occasionally. And just cram them in my little face, both hands.
The last few times I've had Big Mac cravings, I've totally regretted it. I've dashed in there and picked one up, and then about an hour later, boy, I'm not...
Oh, yeah, and something else I always regret, and fortunately about half the time I ask for them, the chocolate milkshake machine is broken. But I don't know why in God's name they taste nothing like chocolate milkshakes.
Oh,
frankly, they don't even have any chocolate flavoring in them.
Dean Green trying to suck that stuff through the straw. I don't know what... You're talking about the McDonald's shakes?
Well, any of them, they're all the same. At least the places I've tried. There's no difference between the so-called milkshakes at any of those hamburger joints.
I think those milkshakes would probably do real well trying to seal some of the cracks up in my basement right about now.
Which famous person would you most like to be like?
Oh, see, I was... These questions, I had a really hard time with those kind of questions, because I hate being like anybody. As soon as I
Yeah, obviously no one.
Yeah, as soon as I find that I'm emulating anybody exactly, I want to change myself. So it's a real tough thing. So, I have to draw complete blame. I don't know if you'll accept that.
That's an acceptable answer.
I just, but I have so many idols, though. There's many people that I respect, and I try to, get little pieces of their ways of being, I try to collect those things, and I try to aspire to them, let me say that, because I never feel like I can collect them, but I try to aspire to them.
I'm not who I want to be yet, but I think there's still an outside chance. So until I'm totally convinced I will never be who I want to be, then I don't really have any desire to be like somebody else.
I don't think anybody would you ever want to be who you want to be? I think you're always trying to be somebody different. As soon as you're there, you want to be somebody else.
Well, but so often in life, you run into people who, and I feel sorry for people like this who aren't happy with who and what they are, who would like to change something. I wouldn't change anything.
Oh, I agree.
Nothing.
Yep.
For all of my problems, for all of my flaws, I would change nothing to this point in my life. And I hope it's always that way.
Yeah, you're right. That's very well put, because it's probably the most common syndrome out there. Is people in their lives, and they just can't stand where they are. And they probably take it out on others. That's probably why you have so many problems. And then you can't cancel that out with the need to improve and all these other things.
Well, I have a great curse in my life. I once told my first mother-in-law this, and she held it against me from that day onward, which I didn't find out about until after we were divorced. But the great curse in my life is that whatever I have wanted, I have gotten. It may have taken years, and it may not have been precisely as I'd initially hoped for, but whatever I have wanted in life, I have gotten. And so therefore, I assume that anything that I have yet to get, that I still want, I'm going to get. That's the way life has been with me. It has taught me that. Well, no, it's not.
You don't think so?
No, it's a terribly dangerous thing, because I don't work for anything. I just wait. I just sit back and wait. And, one day the phone rings and, oh, okay, I got it. Honey, I got it now. Guy just called so I can have it. That's literally the way my life has been.
Well, why is that a terrible attitude? I don't know.
Because I don't work for anything. I wait.
But you have a problem with that? I mean, I wouldn't have any problem at all with that. I think that's almost the way you're supposed to be. I mean, I think the people that aren't that way are the ones who are beating their heads against the wall all the time and worrying the high blood pressure. I think that's the way to be. The more I could be that way, I would enjoy it.
Yeah, but if everybody was like that, everybody would just be sitting around waiting for the phone to ring.
Oh, well, that's true. Well,
that's great for me.
Well, that has to do with patience. Yeah, I don't know about patience. I am impatient.
Well, you're still young. See, patience, you get patience as you grow older. I have a little saying that goes something to the effect of, the price for patience is youth, which is a hell of a price to pay, but patience is great.
Well, wait, so you say all your life you say you've gotten what you wanted. I guess if you ask yourself the same question back when you were my age, would you have the same answer? You'd probably be saying, no, I'm not getting it nearly as much as I want to. Or, would it be the same answer? Or
I don't know. That's too tough a question for me to deal with. That's when I got to go in and close the door and sit down and think about. I don't know what I would have said when I was in my mid-20s.
Because my answer to one of your other questions about, do you get what you expect out of life, or have you got? I would say that my answer to that is yes, and I think that my only problem is that I never was in the past patient enough. I mean, I think that I'm getting it, but it's just a lot slower than I thought I was going to. And I think that that's probably the right way to be. The more I can start becoming patient, the more it's all going to start rolling out and happening the way I want it to.
Which national issue concerns you the most? And you get, what is a national issue is totally up to you.
I think specific national issue. I just think mostly the things to do with labor and management-labor relationships. Anytime you want to start talking about that, I think that's getting at the core of what's wrong and what can be improved. And I don't know if that's an issue. That's not a specific issue. I'm not into the flag issues, the smoke screen issues. I'm not into them as much. The abortion, for instance. No way. But the specific, anything to do with labor management relationships. Where are we going to head with that? What are we going to do with our technology, and how are we going to try to improve? How are we going to try to apply our technology? When
I know I'm about to retire, I've got a week's worth of shows I want to do, and that's going to be one of them. No holds barred. The world according to Lassiter. That will be one of them.
Good. can't wait.
Probably the last one, too.
Well, I can't not wait for your last one. I think I want that to be quite a ways off. But
591-8900. Thank you. 591-8900, the telephone number. This time it is the South Side. Hi there, South. You're on the air at WLS.
Greetings, O magnificent one.
Oh, we do like callers that show the proper reverence at the beginning of the call. How are things going on the South Side?
I'm just seeing some guy running up down the street shooting, saying he has a son. Now, I guess when he has a child just been born, so now he's running up and down the street shooting his gun off.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
Well, I'm sure it's a happy day in his life, but...
Yeah, I just have to make sure I duck next time he runs by.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say, but wow. Which one of the so-called national issues concerns you the least?
Oh.
Yeah.
Right now, it seems like everybody's trying to be environmentally sound. And really, I believe no one gives a darn. Because I have a feeling that people who are out trying to save the environment turns around and like throw a piece of paper in the street and don't think anything else about it. Like last year, they had this big Earth Day celebration and left a ton of garbage in the park.
You know, it's a topic that I never, ever bring up on my show. For basically the reasons that you just talked about. Yeah, I'm concerned too, but I'm overwhelmed by it. I don't know what the hell to do, and I also have been known to throw, cigarette butts out the window and that kind of stuff that don't disintegrate. So it's something I just totally avoid. I don't think about it personally. I will never bring it up professionally, because I think that you're right. We're all, quote-unquote, concerned. So what the hell do you do?
I mean,
if you really want to split hairs, literally everything we do is bad.
It's true. I mean, the minute you're born, you really are destroying your environment. Literally. I mean, just think about nowadays, babies have to use those diapers, and most more than likely they're disposable. So that's bad for the environment. We're exuding methane gas. So that's bad for the environment. So what are we supposed to be? Never be born now for the world to be safe?
Well, last weekend we have a washer and dryer in our apartment, and it's in this little closet. And so Mary keeps all of the goodies, in there, so I never see them. Last weekend she was washing, and on the counter are 5 gigantic plastic bottles. There was bleach and softener, and all this stuff, which I never really think about. And I came by in the kitchen and I looked at it, and the first thing that went through my mind is, where in the hell are they going to go? We ain't the only people with 5 great big plastic bottles that are going to be in the trash in a week.
It's going to go to New York, down in one of those barges. They'll never have a place to be found to put the garbage in.
But I do. There is one thing that I definitely do for the environment. Why, I don't know. But I've been doing it now for about 10 years. And I literally go out of my way. I use hairspray because I got this really bad hair that won't stay where it's supposed to. And I have switched over to the pump. I definitely, for environmental purposes, that is my contribution. Do not use aerosol cans, and I prefer the aerosol cans because they have a much finer, better spray.
Well, I
usually
keep my pop cans when after I finish drinking.
Uh-huh.
And I say that for one thing, you get money off of them. And another, it keeps cluttering things up in the garbage cans. And garbage men don't particularly seem to care to pick up the trash anyway, especially when it's cans in the cans.
Which one of Chicago's major league sports teams would you be willing to part with?
Oh, the Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks? Don't like hockey?
I don't understand the sport. They could be playing in space for all I don't care, and it wouldn't matter to me.
Have you ever been to a hockey game?
If I want to see a fight, I could go outside my house right now.
That was my exact point. It is really, really scary. I've only been to one in my life, and maybe I'm generalizing here, but I don't think I am. Those fans, especially in the cheap seats, they were calling for and really wanted blood, and they meant it.
I forgot what I seen on TV. It wasn't the Blackhawks, but it was a hockey game that this guy was slammed so hard into the side, and he broke the plexiglass.
Ooh.
I mean, he was
That's got to be hard, yeah.
That was very hard. And the audience was just screaming for more. It's almost like the modern-day version of the Roman Coliseum.
I'm not an anti-sports guy by any stretch of the imagination. You know, there are things I say to incite people, like what a dumb game basketball is. However, there is one thing, you know, even with my teams, that I just will never, as long as I live, understand, and that is why, if you have on a professional athlete's uniform, you can do things that anybody else would be arrested for in terms of in terms of fighting and assaults and batteries. If I chase you down the street with a baseball bat because you and I have a disagreement, I got some serious troubles. And when somebody chases somebody else around with a baseball bat on a baseball field, he ought to have serious trouble.
And what's ironic is the guys are fighting on the guys named Guy and Jean.
Hear what you're saying. What product or service would you recommend to a friend?
Oh, nothing about cars. I'm into audio visual. I have 3 VCRs. I don't know why.
I got 5. I don't know why.
I just tape shows. The last show I don't do it regularly. Last show I taped Masterpiece Theater had their 20th anniversary celebration, and they played one of the episodes of Upstairs, Downstairs.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's my favorite show in the whole wide world. I watched that.
And the show, I was lucky because that particular show was one of the shows I missed. Is when the King came to visit.
Yeah, came to dinner.
Yeah, and I didn't see that show, so I taped it.
Why do you like?
It's strange because
you're a young black man.
Exactly.
And that show is really bizarre.
Well, I am strange considering when I grew up, I wasn't an athlete because I was overweight and no one wanted to play with me. So I spent my time listening to classical music, believe it or not, and other type of music. I read a lot and watched PBS.
So much for stereotypes, eh?
Well, it takes all kinds.
Who's your favorite actor?
He hasn't done anything recently, but I would say...
Hey, come on, I've already had Jimmy Stewart.
Sidney Poitier.
Who's your favorite actress?
Does she have to be living?
No.
It would have to be Lucille Ball. And that's a strange answer. Because, as I said, when I was a child, I spent most of my time in the house watching television or listening to music, and she provided laughter. And even though when you just feel like laughing, so I would say Lucille Ball.
Who's your hero? You have to have one.
This is going to sound cliche. There's this guy who lived in my old neighborhood. Name was Mr. Derby. He died recently. He died at 100 years old, and I think he's my hero because he's the only white person who stayed in the neighborhood. He didn't run cause we were the first black family to move to that block, and he was the only guy to stay in that neighborhood. And from what I hear from my friends back in the old neighborhood, he stayed there till he died.
Interesting. Thank you very much, my young friend.
All right. Bye-bye.
And upstairs, downstairs fan. Anybody that likes upstairs, downstairs is okay with me. 591-8900, the telephone number, 591-8900.
That's Talk Radio 890. From 312 and 708, dial 591-8900. 591-8900. Now, back to Bob Lassiter.
I don't know whether or not I should divulge this. What the hell. There are tricks to doing what I do on the radio. It's not just a skill or a talent. There are literally things that you can learn to help things along. One of the tricks that I learned very early on in this phase of the business, the talk radio business, was that at the beginning of a program we were going to do a poll or something like a poll, similar to what we're doing tonight. If you say, no one will call in the beginning, but later on you won't be able to get in. First of all, it is true. But when you say that, then the board fills up immediately. That's one of the tricks. The other trick is to tell people, don't call. I don't want to talk to you. Don't even bother to call. I'm not going to give you the phone number. You don't deserve the phone number. The board will fill up. Well, the second truism is that people try to call and they can't get in. And they stop calling. There are That's about half the slots open right now. 591-8900, 591-8900. If you were trying earlier and you couldn't get in, you still want to do it. It's cool with me. To Woodstock, it is either Wood, you're on the air at WLS.
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad. Yourself, Wood?
Oh, pretty good.
How are things at Woodstock tonight?
Drying up a little.
Good.
Yeah, about time. I'm tired of the rain.
Did you ever dream of going into business for yourself?
I am in business for myself.
Okay, you're in business for yourself. It's not at all unusual for people who have started a business to start a second one. If you were going to start a second one, what would it be?
Oh.
What kind of business would you open?
Maybe a drop-off babysitting center.
Why?
We lived in Arkansas for a while, and I used one there because I didn't know anyone to babysit, and it was a great convenience, and everything was child-proofed. And
would you do it for the money, or would you do it because you'd really enjoy doing whatever the business entailed?
I'd do it. I like the business end of things. I don't particularly. I have children, and I like taking care of my kids, but I wouldn't want to take care of a lot of other kids. But I'd do it probably for the money.
Do you really enjoy what you do for business?
Yeah, I do.
Get personal satisfaction out of it?
Yeah, I do. I have a diaper service, and I like it. It's a great, you get to meet all the new people that have new babies, and it's a great time in their life, and I have a lot in common with them, so it's fun.
Here's it's a terribly overworked question, the desert island one. Don't even make me go through it.
Well, you want me to tell you who I'd want to be stranded with?
Yes.
Probably my husband. He would know what to do, and keep his sanity.
He would know what to do, stranded on a desert island? You're sure about that?
Yeah.
The guy's so together that you would literally risk your survival with him?
Yeah, I would. He would have some good ideas. He'd keep himself sane. He'd keep me sane.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
A singer.
I take it you didn't.
Well, I do some singing, but I didn't make the big time or anything.
It's not too late.
Well...
You're still a kid.
Yeah. I don't know about that. Well, I don't know. Something might happen. You never know. Right now there are other more important things in my life, but I still sing.
More important things than doing what you really wanted to do?
Well, that's what I wanted to do. I have 2 children now. And they take a lot of my time, and I like taking care of them. And...
Do you think the world's really ever going to come to an end?
Yes.
Anytime soon?
I don't
whatever
know.
the hell soon means.
I don't know. I don't think about that question a lot because I don't feel like you can live your life worrying about it.
I worry about people who are convinced the world's coming to an end. I really, really worry about those people. If they truly believe that, then what is the sense of doing anything to preserve for future generations? And that kind of scares me, that attitude.
Well, I think, I don't know. I think it at some point will come to an end, but I don't think you have to dwell on it. I don't think you have to. I think you have to keep planning for future generations and keep things going because we don't know.
I've only got a minute left, but to this point in your life, what's the most important event that you've seen happen?
Gosh, the birth of my children and I don't know. I think when the Berlin Wall came down, that made a big impression on me.
Did it really?
Yeah, really did. I just felt like there is some hope there.
You know what I thought of when all of that was going on last year?
What?
That all this elation, this part of the world, these countries are not ready for this. And this is creating an incredible vacuum. And while we're all cheering and happy right now, probably somewhere in the next 5 to 10 years, these events are going to lead to events that are even worse. Pessimist in me, but nonetheless, that's what went through my mind. I was not unhappy to see it come down, but I thought that the jubilation was probably a little bit too premature.
Well, that may be. I think they are having a lot of problems. I think they'll continue to have those problems, but I think in the long run, they'll be better off for it.
I hope so. Thank you much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
591-8900, the telephone number, as we do something bizarre in talk radio. Talk to each other. This might catch on, 591-8900. One more hour yet to go. Please, whatever you do, don't venture very far.
Have a happy Memorial Day weekend from all of us at WLS Talk Radio 890. Time at the Safe Driver is 11 o'clock.
President Bush has a couple of choice words.